Hey guys, my name is Fire, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 ways to get better at CSGO fast. Before the video starts, I just want to say thanks to Skooby for collaborating with me on this video, and if you do enjoy, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys checked out more of my content, which will be linked at the top of the description. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Coming in at number 1 is basic aim training. Getting better at aiming in CS is quite a hard task, and there's a lot of different avenues you can take, which is why I'm starting off with a broad way to get better at aiming. A lot of people just tend to jump into deathmatch servers and kind of practice there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'm gonna tell you why I think this thing called aim deathmatch is a lot better. Aim deathmatch is basically always taking one-on-one fights. You're never going to get flanked or killed from an unexpected angle. Not only that, but it also teaches you crosshair placement and how to peek without overcommitting, which are two very important aspects that I'll be going over later. You can find one of these servers by going to the community server browser and just looking up AIM-DM. I know Tarek especially has a lot of these servers that run with this game mode, so they shouldn't be too hard to find. Also remember that consistency is key. Doing this once a week probably won't help out that much, but if you spend a bit of time doing this every day, you'll definitely notice improvements. Now onto step number 2, which is knowing how to peek. Peeking is another really important aspect of CS. If you know how to peek properly and have good crosshair placement, you'll die a lot less and probably get more kills as well. One crucial step to peeking is something called counter-strafing, which is a lot less scary than it sounds. To counter-strafe, all you have to do is press A or D to move left or right, and when you want to shoot, press the opposite key than what you were pressing before. For example, if I'm running to the right and want to counter-strafe and shoot, I would hold down A, tap D, and then shoot at the same time I tap D. Once you do this a few times in game by yourselves, I guarantee it'll seem a lot easier than what I'm saying, because it's kind of hard to explain. And rather than just doing something like wide swinging and over peeking angles, if you get better at counter strafing, you could master things like shoulder peeking to gain information, not showing a lot of your body, and easily headshotting people or just figuring out where they are, not overcommitting and dying as much. Onto step number 3, which is actually a pretty easy step that literally anyone can do. It just takes a bit of memorization, and that's learning nades. Using nades opens up a lot of different possibilities on how you can play. First of all, you can use flashes to get out of tight positions. If you're ever stuck in a corner like jungle on Mirage and being held there by an enemy, they're really useful. They can also help you get onto sites easier, like if you're taking a site, you just flash over, the guy on site's gonna be blind, they could swing, gain some information, maybe even get a kill off of it. You, along with teammates, can obviously use smokes to cut off vision of enemies from certain positions as well, and take sites without having to worry about as many angles. Like you could easily smoke off stairs, CT, jungle, a lot of things at A. All are pretty simple smokes that you could look up online, like there's a ton of YouTube videos on them. I guarantee you will find whatever smoke you're looking for if you just look up like Mirage smokes on YouTube or something. There's so many videos out there. So definitely do that if you don't know what to do with nades, because they're an absolutely vital ingredient to succeeding in CSGO. Coming in at number 4, I'm going to talk about another kind of broad topic, and that's game sense. Just learning where enemies will be and how they will play is another key aspect to CSGO. The most simple way to do this is obviously by just playing the game a lot. But personally, when I was a newer player, I found it really helpful that downloading demos of my past matches and watching how I was dying and how the enemy was playing is another really helpful factor. You can do this by going to the TV screen on the main menu, going to the match you want, and clicking download. And just noting things like, am I overcommitting when I peek? I'm just like crouching too much or something? Am I just getting unlucky? Am I getting killed by hackers? I don't know, man. But either way, you could just find that by looking over your demos and seeing the mistakes you're making. Step number 5 tends to be one of the more frustrating things for newer players: controlling sprays. Even at well over 3,000 hours, for me, there's plenty of times I mess up my spray just because of how precise you have to be. But thankfully, Uletical, the same guy who actually made the warm-up map Aimbots, helps us out a lot here. In this case, he made a map called Recoil Master, which will be linked at the top of the description as well. This map gives you a wide variety of options to choose from and even shows you the exact spray control of whichever weapon you want to learn. To me, this map is necessary if you want to learn to spray better, and it's really helpful for newer players, and it really doesn't take that long to learn how to get a decent spray control down. On to step number 6, which is keeping and choosing your settings. Now, there's a million different possibilities out there when it comes to choosing CSGO settings. You can play on 4x3 stretched, black bars, native 16x9, 16x10, and it all seems pretty crazy. My advice is that not one of these things is better than the other. If you like 16x9, stick to that. If you like 4x3 with black bars, that's fine as well. It's all personal preference. But just in case you guys want to know, most pros tend to go with 4x3 resolutions, especially 1024x768 and 1280x960, which is one of my own personal favorites. So personally, I'd recommend testing it with different resolutions until you find something you like. A lot of people tend to go with 4x3 resolutions since they feel a lot smoother and tend to offer you better frame rate, but if 16x9 is working for you, once again, by all means you can stay on it. Don't feel pressured by other people, like all your friends are playing on 4x3, all the pros are playing on 4x3, it doesn't matter. If you think something's working out for you, stay on it. For step number 7, which actually kinda ties into number 6, I'm gonna be talking about consistency. Keeping your settings consistent is one of the best ways to improve at CSGO. Just because you have an off day doesn't mean you suck at CS. In fact, if you change settings, you're just gonna ruin your muscle memory and probably be a lot worse than you were before. The only time I recommend changing your settings, especially sensitivity, is when you notice yourself over flicking or flicking too fast, or not being able to keep your spray control consistent because your aim is moving like too far away from the enemy while you're trying to keep it close and keep your spray control good. This also ties in with watching your demo, because it's kind of hard to notice these things when you're in a gunfight, but looking back on it on a demo when you're not like pressured, you're not thinking about 100 different things like where's he gonna be, it makes it a lot more noticeable. So I really recommend looking over your demos. Step number 8 isn't really something you have to practice to do, but it's one of the most influential things to winning games, and that's having a positive mindset. It may sound a bit cliche, but getting tilted in CS is one of the things that isn't just going to negatively affect you, it's also going to drag down your team. If you ever have some non-constructive thing to say about your teammates or losing a crucial round, just purely avoid saying it. It's always better to think about how you're going to handle a situation the next time it happens rather than complaining. For example, rather than saying, how do we all rush B and not get a single kill every single round? Say something like, I think we should switch it up. I noticed that they have a player like getting aggressive towards A every round, and if we play off each other, I think we could kill this guy easily and then take A if we use all of our nades after that. Adaptivity in CSGO is a very important thing that you have to get used to. CSGO is a really fast-paced game, and you are gonna have to think fast if you want to succeed. Paying attention to the ways yourself and your teammates die in game is a crucial part in winning, but it does take time to learn. For step number 9, I already touched on this a bit, but now I'm going to go into a bit more detail. Playing with your team is another very important part in CSGO. Whether you're solo queuing or playing with a team full of people you know, doing what's best for the team is a lot better than trying to be a flashy player. For example, playing slow and holding for pushes is probably one of the easiest things you can do in CSGO, and the most successful. Personally, on Cash especially, when my team tries to work mid and A, try and do a split or something like that, I like to lurk at B and make sure no CTs walk through and flank behind them. I do this by always trying to keep the CTs on their toes and make them think that we could be pushing B. I usually do this by smoking B early in the round to show presence, and then waiting till a bit later to break the glass, and once my teammates might start to walk up towards A main, maybe I'll throw some nades at B so they're like, okay, they're executing B. They call that over to their A players, and then their A players start to rotate back while my team is pushing and catch them out of position. Of course, you don't have to do exactly what I said, but overall, just know that playing slow and coordinating with your team will help you a lot. Don't be afraid to use your mic and tell your team what you think they could do better and what you think we're doing good. And finally, for step number 10 to get better at CSGO, I think watching professionals or playing with people that are much better than you is a really crucial thing. The reason I say this is because, first of all, professional players like Nothing and Steel make really good informative videos that go in depth about really specific topics that I've gone over in this video. So if you want to know how to make a certain play, how to like lurk on T-side Mirage or something really specific, I guarantee they have a ton of good videos on that. As for playing with people that are better than you, it's often kinda hard to notice the mistakes you're making while you're playing, especially if you're new at the game and don't really understand the basic mechanics. So somebody that's better than you can really show you in real time different methods to help you improve, where you're succeeding and where you might need some more practice. But besides that, I think that does pretty much wrap it up for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, I really would appreciate it if you did check out the rest of my content on youtube.com/SukaHotfire. But besides that, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.